War in the North is a really classic action RPG. So big focus on co-op and big focus on the sort of core pillars of an action RPG experience. So combat, loot, upgrading, and the co-op experience. The cool thing as a Lord of the Rings game is what we've been able to do, because we've got access to both the movie and the literary rights, is to create this entirely original story. So it's happening in parallel with the events of Lord of the Rings, but the entire War of the Ring is encompassing all of Middle-earth. So we're actually going and finding out what happened on the northern front of that war. So we have this fellowship of these three characters that go throughout the story and are constantly playable, you know, at all points through the story as co-op. But then at various times in the story, they're joined by other allies that have been referenced in the books or that are original characters in our story. And those include characters like there's Elrond's sons at various points. There's some other dwarf lords and heroes fighting alongside at other points. And there's also the great eagles, which are actually very, very integral and cool characters in our story. You really need to play together in order to survive. So it's not just three players playing a single player game, you know, on the same machine, and that the skills of the different classes and the characters are really designed to work together. So for example, the protective shield of the elf is a great place in which the ranger can go to take advantage of his long range melee abilities, or the war cry ability of the dwarf in order to draw the aggro and draw the bigger enemies is a great opportunity for the ranger to use his evasion to get behind them in order to outflank them and attack them. So not only are the skills essential to keeping the fellowship alive, they actually stack and work really well together if they're coordinated. Same thing with our combat system and the combos. If you can actually build up combos on enemies and pull off finishing moves together, then there's rewards for that in terms of increased damage and increased XP and loot rewards. You're able to trade and share items with each other to help, you know, optimize your characters. And also you have to advance. All three characters have to survive to each checkpoint in order to progress. So you actually have to keep each other alive as part of the game. The dialogue system's really cool because it actually serves three functions. So one, we're an action RPG. So if you want to get straight to the action, there's a really clearly highlighted dialogue path that tells you what you need to know in order to, you know, move on and get back to the slaying. Also, within the dialogue tree, there's abilities to unlock access to side missions and additional exploration of the game. So, you know, that's a big part, to not just follow the main path, but look for side quests and so on. And then on top of that, there's also systems in there that you can explore the story, explore the world, explore the lore in much more detail as well. So it's really up to the players how deeply or how directly they want to go through the game. The mature content is a big advantage because it lets us treat the combat much more realistically and much more consistently with the violence and the horror of war as it's portrayed in the books and on the movies. Like, it's meant to be nasty stuff, and you're fighting against these, you know, very evil and powerful minions of Sauron. So it enables us to make them more threatening, more powerful, and also it's got big gameplay advantages as well. So, you know, the fact that we can have the precision of headshots in the range system, the fact that we can be severing limbs in our heroic mode, so it gives you better feedback and more mechanics to actually make the combat deeper as well.